All right, hi everyone. Welcome to the September 2023 FCDC general meeting. My name is Brian Graham, and I am the chair of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, and I am calling this meeting to order. So I can stop glaring at some people. I apologize to everyone online who has had to wait in with the frustrations there. We're still not 100% set up correctly, but we're still working on it. But I do want to get the meeting started. And then to the people in the room, thanks for coming on a rainy day, and I'm glad you were able to have a few minutes to catch up with some folks. I think that's great. Let's move on to our instructions and agenda and those types of things. We can get some of those kind of out of the way and hopefully have the tech problems completely solved by then when we get into the actual discussions of the day. For hybrid meetings, we've been, I guess I will just ask generally to folks, if you are online, to keep yourself muted. If you are not speaking, I know that's hard to do sometimes, but we're a couple years into electronic meetings, so hopefully we can figure that out. But I am hearing some feedback, so if you all can't mute yourselves, I will do you.
Funding the government by passing what 24-day or 40-day workaround, meaning that the world is watching us fund our 24, 25.
I'm unmuted. There we go. Okay. All right. So we will attempt to alternate recognizing members that are here in the room with us with folks that are online. If you are in the room and are speaking to address the committee, please do so into the microphone so that people online can hear you as well as the people in the room. If you are online and would like to be recognized, raise your hand to indicate that you would like to be recognized to speak. And as I already mentioned, please keep yourself. Hey, Dominic, can you make the little window on the right with the picture smaller or something? There we go. You keep yourself muted, although I guess we just muted everyone, so hopefully you keep doing that. We'll have to unmute you if you'd like to be recognized. And there's a lot of things going on, so we may not see your chat message. Still can't hear. Can anyone online hear?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
Can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I think that's the primer on how a hybrid meeting will work. At this point, we can have a discussion of if there are any changes to the agenda or to the minutes. Seeing no one's seeking recognition in the room or online, the minutes and agenda can be approved without objection. And we can move on to the approval of new members. And we are getting to the end of our biennium. We reorganize every 2 years. So we don't have that many people that are joining as new members right now, typically. But the pending approved members that are here, one Mount Vernon voting member, Charles Thompson Sumter, and 4 associate members, Robert Granger III from Franconia, Kristen Morris and Alistair Nelson from Sully, and Angie Trevertola from Springfield. Can we vote to affirm the election of these members to their respective committees? Let's just all say aye, just for fun.
Aye.
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 Okay, great. And next we have the introduction of special guests. And I was actually thinking that this was going to work, but maybe not. But the first person, I believe, I'm not sure. We'll have to look into that, Mateo. We'll have to look into that. Alana Amounts is the National Ballot Access Director for the Biden campaign. And I'm going to see if Alana is on here.
She is not, but I'm also with the Biden campaign
Oh, okay.
and in the point person for tonight.
Okay, so just give me a moment. Let's see how well I can do with this. All right, Jake, I'm gonna see if I can figure out exactly where the speaker is on my computer and see if we can hear you in the room. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and if I might interrupt if necessary.
Of course, my name is Jake Schwartz. I am the Ballot Access Associate for the state and will be your point person this fall for anything to do with the Biden campaign, specifically collecting the required petitions to get him on the primary ballot this year. I'll put my email and contact info in the chat and would love anyone to reach out if they have an interest in helping collect these petitions or any other questions regarding the campaign in the coming months. And no, Frank, I do not play the bass. Kathy, question?
Oh, go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, what's the timeline for the, obviously we're focused on our local elections right now, but so, what's the schedule for collecting signatures for next year for the Biden campaign? Thanks.
Of course, the deadline isn't until late December, but we are trying to get on it as soon as possible. We already have 1,200 collected out of our goal of 10,000 across the Commonwealth. So as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you so much, Jake. I did see that there are some I think there was a training session yesterday. So I know folks are getting trained up to do that too. So that's obviously we've got an election going on right now, but there's a good way to figure out if someone is a voter and if they're going to vote. So it's a good way to figure out, but it's a good opportunity, I think, maybe for that. Let's see, do I have Dr. Anderson here? I don't see her online either. Okay, are there any other guests that would like to speak to the committee? Okay, I guess we can move on in okay. Chris, we're gonna have Chris Falcon. Go ahead, come on, Chris. I'm gonna have you, it's gonna be awkward, but just for now, sit here at the computer and talk into the microphone at the same time.
I'm happy to sit for a change. How's it going, Fairfax County Democratic Committee friends? It's good to be here with you tonight. Happy to give you an announcement, a campaign update. First, I need to tell you a couple of reasons why this election and why the clerk of the court position matters so much. I think it's important that you all know in terms of representation, why representation matters, that over the past couple of months, I've been contacted by people that live in the Shenandoah Valley, and I've been informed that they are not being permitted to file for divorce in the counties where they live because they don't have a social security number. So those individuals are going to be traveling to Arlington County, where I serve as a deputy clerk of court, to file for divorce because their county clerk's offices are telling them that they can't do it in the counties where they live. Representation matters, okay? So this position is more than just the office that issues your marriage licenses, records your deeds, registers your wills. It's also a position that can stand up for the people that live in that county and stand up for their rights, for their freedoms to marry who they want to marry, to divorce when they want to divorce and not be stuck in a marriage because they quote unquote don't have a social security number, and you're not allowed to do that here. So I think it's important that you all know that that's happening around the state. And that is a big reason why we need to flip this seat and put a Democratic candidate in this office for the first time in 40 years. So coming up next month on October 14th, I think Sue Langley will probably be giving an update about it. Nope. You're going to hear an update about it. We have a big event coming up. So for those of you that are here tonight, we've got some flyers by the door, but I won't steal Joanne Collins's thunder. Thank you all. For more information, go to falconforfairfax.com, and you'll continue to see me out at the early voting locations from now until Election Day. I was out there on Friday with my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister-in-law. You'll be seeing plenty of other Falcon friends, family members, and volunteers from now until then. Thank you.
So there was a question in the room about asking what the explanation was for. Well, I'll let Chris answer.
I appreciate that question. So the question was, what was the explanation given to the residents of those counties why they couldn't file for divorce? They were told that it is a requirement to have a social security number in order to be able to file a divorce complaint in Virginia. That is false. That is not written anywhere. There's no Virginia code section that says that. So those individuals are going to be traveling to file their divorces here in Northern Virginia, but I've also told them that it would probably be wise to discuss that with legal counsel. So they may or may not have been given the information for the ACLU and being in communication with them right now. But I'd be happy to talk about it with you some more. I don't like it either.
Okay, next I'd like to recognize Senator Jennifer Boysko.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to thank all of the people who are volunteering and getting out the vote. This is so important. People around the country are watching our elections because Glenn Youngkin has decided that he wants to be president of the United States. He's going to use our General Assembly races to try to prove his mettle. And we've got to prove him wrong. I'm getting some feedback here, so it's a little bit odd on my ears. I wanted specifically happening. One is on Thursday, the 5th. It's given me feedback again. Sorry. Okay. On Thursday, the 5th, Paul Begala and James Carville are coming to do an event that will benefit the PAC that I'm the fundraising chair for the Senate Democratic Caucus, and they are coming to do a sit-down discussion, a moderated discussion in front of whoever wants to come in DC Thursday, the 5th of October at 7 o'clock. It will be in DC, and if you will follow up with my team, campaign manager at jenniferboysko.com. You can get the details about it. Every single penny that I'm raising is going to help the 7 to 8 targeted races that we believe are the battleground races to make sure that they're staying on TV. So the other thing that I just wanted to point out is that even though many of us in Fairfax County are in what we consider safe seats, we've got to motivate our voters to make sure that they're coming out, the low propensity voters, because our Our down ballot races need us. Chris Falcon needs us to get those voters out. Our school board members need to be protected. We need to make sure that we are knocking on every door, getting every single voter in Fairfax County out so that we can have a big night on November the 7th. I don't want to wake up on November the 8th and wish that I had done more. And I know that nobody in this room wants to either. So thank you all for what you do. Thanks for giving me a moment to talk. And again, I will put my information in the chat if that's okay with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I think we're now I think we now have our problems resolved. And we can kind of switch to here. Let's see how this is working. Can we spotlight this? Yeah, this camera has seen better days, but for a donation of $200, you can fix our camera. No. Next, I would like to recognize candidate for Senate, Saddam Aslan Saleem.
That way. First, thank you to you all for coming here on a Tuesday night. It is Tuesday night, right? I'm losing track of time. I've been told that the last couple of days. But I really just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing. I know a lot of people are writing postcards as we're talking. And of course, a lot of people are doing so many other things. But I'm going to get real for a minute before I make the announcement is that, you know, we're all Democrats. We're supposed to be supporting Democrats. I'm sure you have already seen the circulations of all the write-in campaigns that are happening in the county where, you know, Democrats have gotten the nomination, but somebody else is doing a write-in campaign for them. The real reason for that is voter turnout. This is a year where voters are not going to come out. This is the year where FCDC, including many of us in this room, we have to do the hard work, get the folks out, get them to vote. They're going to try any methods, any tactics to get people to the polls. And if they can convince 5 voters come out for this write-in campaign, they're going to come out. They're going to check somebody else for school board. They're going to check somebody else for supervisor. They're going to check somebody else for the Senate. That is what we're up against. As much as we hear everything else on the news and all that stuff, we're still fighting voter turnout in our own district. That's one reason we don't have a lot of knockers on the weekends. One reason we don't have a lot of phone bankers. One reason we don't have a lot of text bankers. I know it's tiring. It's exhausting. I've been doing it since January and it feels like 10 years, but we have to continue to do what we have to do until November 7th. With that being said, I do have to tell you, I got a couple of fundraisers coming up. October 10th, Mayor Stoney is coming up here from Richmond along with Dawn Byer, Eileen Fillercorn. They're all coming here to do a fundraiser for me on October 10th, Tuesday night. We'll put more information out there. And then on October 21st, in the city of Fairfax, which is right here, we're going to be doing a picnic in the park with Chris Falcon. And the reason for that is because I want to make sure Chris is, you know, he's on the ballot, but he doesn't have a D next to his name. I want to make sure he wins. Everyone that's going to come out to that is going to learn more about Chris. You know, for me, it's personal. For him, it's personal. The last time we had a Democrat in that seat was before I was even alive. So you can all Google how old I am with that. But again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you.
Next, I would like to recognize our next supervisor for the Springfield District, Albert Vega.
Thank you. And again, everybody for joining on a rainy, again, Saddam, I'm missing my day too. It's Tuesday, right? Okay, fantastic. Just want to say thank you so much. Give you a little bit of update on the campaign. Sandy and I are actually knocking a lot of doors. I am super glad to have somebody who is as ambitious on the doors as she is, because we definitely push ourselves because we need to get that message out. And the criticality for all of this is because from school board, state level supervisors, all I've been seeing is that the Republicans are just resorting to just dirty tactics. They're attacking Steve Descano, they're attacking Marcia, they're attacking everybody. And I know Pat Harity's going to come after me. I know he is. This is all they've got. But it means that Pat Harity is scared. He's scared of losing his position, and he'd rather play politics with people's voices rather than do a job. And the only thing that he's trying to problem solve is how to keep himself in office. So this is why I'm here. I know a lot of races are going on. I don't consider any race to be safe, but if you have any extra bandwidth, come knock doors with me and Sandy. Come make a change in Springfield. Get Pat Harity out of there because he's not solving any problems, but keeping himself in office. So looking forward to you joining us. We also have a fundraiser with Eileen Fillercorn, I think on the 7th of October. Check for details on that. We'll get you more information, but this is it. This is in our hands. We can make this happen. Let's get him out of there. He is not problem solving at all. I want to be that better voice for our people. Let's make it happen, folks. Thank you.
And I was to say last but not least, I'd like to recognize former school board member and one of our next at-large school board members, Ilrong Moon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me bring up Kyle McDaniel. We are two of the three 3M teams. You know, that you just go for the last name, which start with an M, when you vote for a large school board members. That's how you're going to be electing 3 Democratic school board members. First of all, weather was awful on last Saturday. However, there were quite a few of you who came to my event, fundraising event, and I appreciate that. But there were more who sent in money. That I appreciate that too. Having said that, I must report to you that in as much as we 3M team has been campaigning hard, we are all gonna win. I have never seen anybody working harder than Kyle McDaniel. I am very, very, very proud of him. You know, he has learned the county is so large, but you know, he's everywhere. That is good. That is good. But the fundraising, and you probably know that, fundraising report for the last period show that our Republican competitors raised more than twice our Democratic candidates. That's very disheartening. I know we can do better. We should do better. So I am imploring you to, I know there are so many races going on and so many candidates are asking for your money. And school board members are having candidates are having the hardest time to raise money. But we need as much as any other candidate. So please, at the next time when you take out a checkbook, consider school board as your top priority to support. And with that, I wanna applaud Sandy Anderson working so hard in Springfield District. We will make sure that you get to the school board and work with both of us together. Thank you.
I want to stress 2 things. Who was at the rally on Friday at the government center for early voting? All right. Someone came up to me after they voted. I won't say who. And this person said, I voted for you. I said, good, I got at least 1 vote. And they said, but I was like, oh boy. I didn't take the sample ballot because I thought I knew everybody. And I forgot friends Chris, Rhonda, and Dana on soil. Fortunately, she had a phone in her pocket and she fixed the problem really quick. I cannot stress enough that sample ballot, we've got to get those in the hands of people, whether it's a digital sample ballot, one in the mail for our absentee folks, or in person. If you have any spare time, that sample ballot is the key driver of this election. We're monitoring the absentee numbers now. That is how we win November 7th. Second thing, Springfield. The rising tide will lift all boats. We win Springfield, folks, we sweep the county. That's just the math. We all know this. Any spare time that you have, any spare fund, anything, please put that into Springfield District, because on November 7th at around 8:30, give or take, maybe 9, 10, 11, midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't know. Whenever those numbers start coming in, there's about 3 or 4 key precincts in Springfield, and if we win those, we are golden. Not only in Springfield, not only in Fairfax, not only Northern Virginia, but across Virginia. That's the math. That's how this works. Springfield is the keys to the kingdom this year. Please do what you can to help those folks. Thank you.
Just one more announcement. I have some campaign yard signs up there, along with the tires. I know that every one of you already have both of our signs, but for your next door neighbor, right next to you and across the street, please take one more. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize 2 of the 3 Soil and Water Board members, Chris Kerner and Rhonda Bitterly.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Bitterly, and when I was here the last time, I mentioned that I was from Phoenix, Arizona, and we were in the midst of a brutal heat wave. And it was just a big wake-up call that we're in it now. We have to really take care of our environment. So I want to tell you another lesson that I've learned from the desert. When I was growing up in the desert Southwest, our house had a big yard, lots of green grass and big trees that you could climb. And all of the other houses there did too. And if you were to drop somebody into a neighborhood in that area, you would never know you were in the desert. That had to change. That was unsustainable. And now there are regulations about how you can do your yard. The lawns are gone. The big trees that you can climb are gone. And you use pebbles and gravel and desert vegetation to landscape your yard. It's a lot more natural. And to me, it looks a lot nicer. It looks like the desert. Okay, so I'm a longtime Fairfax County resident. We've got lawns here. We took out the native species to put those lawns in. Those lawns are mowed. Chemicals are put on those lawns. And we've lost the pollinators because we don't have the native species. We have to start rethinking that here in Fairfax County. Plant the native species. Turn part of your yard into a place for native species. The native species help control erosion and flooding, and it cleans the water. And it's just what we need to do. So I am energized to work even more as a director, along with Chris and Dana, to address some of these issues. And what I think is that we need to, the Soil and Water Conservation District always is concerned about stormwater management and flood control and erosion control. And we need to help them continue to do that work because it's becoming more and more important. And we also need to help them get out the word about the assistance they provide to residents, about what we can do in our own yards to help this issue. And so that's what I'm eager to do. And what I would like you to do is when you're driving around, look at the yards. How much lawn is there? Is some of that being turned into native species? And do some thinking about maybe what we can do. Also take a look at those yards and see what's more interesting, that expansive green or the yards that have the native species. I think it's more interesting with the native species. So I have a master's degree in soil and water science. I would love to serve on the Soil and Water Conservation District Board, along with Chris and Dana. And if anybody's interested, I've got a photo of my old childhood home that shows the more natural landscaping. I can show it to you if you're interested.
Thanks, Rhonda. I'm Chris Kerner. I'm incumbent on the board. And it's interesting that these monthly meetings are in the evening after we have a board meeting all day in the morning. And rather than talk of myself, 5 degrees in chemistry, biology, and civil engineering, hydrology. And I worked for about 40 years cleaning up groundwater around the country and the world. Today, we really had a pretty interesting meeting. Nobody really knows what the Soil Water District does, am I in the wrong place? Tended to walk forward. We've been working a lot of memorandum of understandings with the county and different things. And today we spent some time with the Office of Environment and Energy and working on how we can help them make decisions. And we have some abilities to deal with private folks that the county doesn't. And we've really been teaming on how we can get some of the funding and grants out into the communities, and particularly homeowners associations and places of worship that need upgrades for their energy usage. Some really old refrigerators we've been replacing. It really makes a difference. We've been working on solar and the charging of electric vehicles and getting those into communities. We spent quite a bit of time and heard some pretty interesting stuff from Lake Barcroft Management Group today, and we support them through their grant and special district system, because they're going to have quite a bit of serious work to do on the edges of the Lake Barcroft Dam because of their soil plugs there that aren't going to be acceptable anymore. So we worked with them today. We expect to be working with them to try and get funding across the country and across the state to help armor the dam on the sides in case we get another Hurricane Agnes type storm. I'll leave it at that. We did a lot of other stuff today. It was a good meeting, but there are 7 folks running for these positions, and you get to vote for 3 of us. And hopefully that will be me, Rhonda, and Dana. And having a board that works together is really important to help the county do better in the environmental programs that are developed. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Now I'd like to recognize Mateo Dunn, a candidate for a school board, endorsed candidate for school board in Mount Vernon.
Thank you, Brian. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
I just wanted to say a quick word. I know there's been a lot of folks speaking tonight, but I just wanted to reemphasize what Mr. Moon said. Tonight, I was at the back to school night for Woodley Hills Elementary School in the Mount Vernon district. There we had my Republican opponent, Story Zimmerman, Republican at large, Linda Pellegrino, Republican candidate for supervisor, Richard Hayden, and independent but lifelong Trumper, Chris Morgan. So we had 4 Republican candidates there, along with myself, Jessica Nichols and Roxanne. So a big shout out and thank you to all the volunteers who have staffed all the precincts and back to school nights and early voting locations. They are the backbone upon which we will depend for our victory in November. But the Republicans are out there in force, and they're describing themselves as independents. They're describing themselves as nonpartisan. They're describing their handouts as bipartisan, even if it only shows Republican candidates. They're out there misleading left and right. And if you read the recent Rolling Stone article from just a few days ago, the Rolling Stone described the school board as the red hot center of political action in Virginia, with right-wing activists seeking to take over school boards across the state. I can't emphasize enough Mr. Moon's message that, you know, we are facing a dearth of funding, a lack of funding to get out mailers and other information to potential voters, especially for most of the candidates who are running for school board. 8 of the 12 will be new next year, except for Ryan McElveen and Mr. Moon, who will be returning. You know, we don't have the same name recognition as the incumbents, and we have a lot of dark money coming in to fund some of our candidates. Some of the Republican at large have raised more than some supervisors have raised. So we really need every dollar, even if it's just a couple bucks. It goes a long way to helping us combat the Republican misinformation. So I really appreciate your support, and thank you to all the volunteers again, and thanks for your time tonight. I hope you have a great night.
Thank you. Okay. But we're still working on, it seems like there's a list, maybe I need to stand up here. A list of some Providence members and maybe some Mount Vernon members. Hold on. That we did not approve. So I have an email Okay, that's why I'm not, I don't want to deal with it right now, but let's move on to our next section to try to get some business conducted as we still look into that. Let me reshare my screen, I guess. I can figure out how to do that. Okay, and we can move on to the treasurer's report. Nadia.
All right, good evening. Some of you in the room may have actually picked up a physical copy of the treasurer's report, which is the first time we've had one in a long, long time. We will see on the screen kind of what they see on the Zoom meeting. The first page of the report, I try to just summarize basically the big picture of where we are. You can see that we have several pots of income. We have the fundraising income, which is essentially from events and fundraising letters. So far, we have taken in about 82,000 on that. And then we have operations income, which is things like membership dues and money the districts give us for their dues. And we have taken in about 40,000 for that. We have just a small amount of money that comes in from some of our voter contact programs, such as the caucuses, if they raise money, or we sell some chum. And so that's the income side. On the expense side, you can sort of see that we have a big negative expense of 104,000 under the joint campaign. That's because we've been collecting a lot of money to spend on the joint campaign. We are really beginning to spend a lot of it, but we still have collected more money than we have spent. We've been starting to spend money on personnel. We have 4 staff members now on the joint campaign. We have an absentee chase program going, which is literature that we're sending off. We obviously paid for the back to school piece. We've paid for sample ballots for the early voting. I don't think we've paid yet for the sample ballots for the day of, but we will be paying for those. So the money that negative expense will become positive at some point in the future. We're trying to keep our operation expenses down, but unfortunately, we're locked into a lot of fixed expenses. So our operations expenses are at about 107,000 so far. Next page, quickly, you can see where the district committees stand. Each one of the district committees chairs or their treasurers can call me or email me, and I will send them their ledgers so they can look at details and so understand where they are. So you can see that the district committees together have a little over $100,000 in altogether. They've been spending money too. They've been giving money to candidates, school board members, to others. So we've all been busy writing checks. Anyway, anyone who wants to see the bigger detail or ask me questions about it can catch up with me a little bit later, because this is a long meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Nadia. Next, we can move on to the chair's report, and I'm going to try to be as brief as possible, but there's a lot of things going on right now, right? We've talked about a little bit of it. The joint campaign is in full swing now, right? Just on Friday, we sent out 30-something thousand pieces that went to people that requested absentee ballots, that are on the permanent absentee list or already requested an absentee list, right? So those went out on Friday to all the people, because as we've talked about, as we've heard lots of people talk about, of the 14 people on your ballot, or maybe more if you're in a town, only 2 of them have a D or an R next to their name, right? So our job, our complete focus job, other than getting people out, right, and knocking doors and getting people out to the polls, is once they get there, to be there, right, to be where they are, whether so we have a program that, as people continue to request absentee ballots, we are mailing them the list of Democrats, right? We also have a voter guide program, right? So to people that we think are going to vote, or maybe people that need a little bit of a nudge to vote, give them the complete list of Democrats for their list of 14 Democrats. And then be at all the polls, be there at early voting, which has already started in person at the 3 locations. And then we've got, the last 10 days before the election as well, where we have a whole bunch more locations, right? So we need everyone's help. And then we need everyone's help on election day, right? Because this is the election. We need to be there. We need to remind everyone. Well, I think everyone knows what's at stake. We know what's at stake and what the governor wants to do and what Republicans would love to do if they got control in Fairfax County or in the state, right? So we just need to put in the effort and find a little bit of extra time. If you do have time, please find an opportunity to either go knock on doors or be at a poll because we need your help to tell everyone who the Democrats are. And then we also have the reality of the current situation. We have someone who sought the Democratic endorsement now trying to, or I don't know if they're seeking it, but people are seeking to have him as the write-in candidate against the Democratic nominee. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. A lot of, I want to say the Republicans throw stuff against the wall and try to make something stick, even though there's very little of substance in anything that they say. I laughed. The Virginia GOP this week tweeted that the Democrats were going to be responsible if we had a government shutdown, which is like the Republicans can't even decide what they want, right? So, but somehow that's our fault, just because they would try to blame us for anything, as you know, right? They try to blame us for a pandemic, right? And all the results of that, right? So we know we have the right candidates. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm asking for your help. The other thing to say, it kind of feels crazy, but all of our candidates need money. The candidates that we even think feel like are safe in Fairfax County need to raise money one way or the other, right? To help Albert, as an example, right? Or to help the Democratic or Senate or House caucuses, right? Every one of those members has to raise tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to go back and help win the state, right? So everyone needs help, but and we appreciate everything you can give. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it at for my chair's report. I do have, I guess, one just record-keeping type of thing. Ty Begley, who is vice chair of technology, sent me an email resigning today. He has moved to Richmond. So there is a vacancy in vice chair of technology, which I don't know if we're going to fill next month. Technically, we're supposed to fill that 2 months from now, but that would be for like a month. I don't know how much sense that makes. So I think that's we'll just probably leave that vacant for reorganization. And then the last thing that I have is the reorganization resolution. And I think I need to share my screen again. So removing. Can I share my screen? Oh, not doing it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the full text of the reorganization resolution was sent out a week ago, and I'll pull it up in a moment. But I think I wanted to kind of point out the things that were different from last time. So right now, FCDC officially has 1,170 voting members as our cap. This resolution would increase that number to 1,350. I think we've seen with the changes to the bylaws that the numbers of voting members hasn't necessarily been a problem. So we want to kind of make sure that we have an adequate size of the committee so that when we go into reorganization, maybe we don't have as many caucuses or any caucuses, depending on that situation, right? I think I could explain this a little bit, right? But everyone has to reapply to be a member. And if we go over the membership cap for your district, we technically have to have a vote because we are the elected representatives of the Democrats of the county on this committee. We try to avoid that where possible, and it hasn't happened very often in the I don't know, 12 or 16 years in my memory, but that's the intent of that. Just from like a general kind of normal regulatory type of thing. The resolution also sets the deadline for application, which I think traditionally is December 1st. But we're setting it to November 27th. There is a weird thing in our bylaws that the district committees have to reorganize between the 1st and 2nd Saturdays of December, which this year is December 2nd through 9th. So it didn't seem practical to have membership applications due on the 1st and then have reorganizations start potentially that next day. So that was the purpose of that. It does also, and this is maybe the controversial part of it, increases the membership fees. FCDC membership fees are voluntary. They're not necessary, but they are a really good source of income for the committee. They have not been increased, we think, in 12 years and maybe more. So right now they're $75 for 2 years, and this resolution came through the steering committee. And we had a robust discussion on this and ended up at $100 for voting members and $60 for associate members for the 2 years. And then it also adds, I'm going to say a check, but possibilities where the opposition to a candidate can be registered. So the idea there is that someone not a bona fide Democrat trying to join FCDC, that there is a mechanism for identifying them and having a vote on them, so that they don't just get in just because they're not opposed, because we haven't met membership cap. I'm going to pull up the full text of this thing, but I don't know how well anyone's going to be able to read any of it. But I just want to kind of say at this point that because this comes from me and from the steering committee, that it is now kind of on the floor for consideration, and I asked if there's any discussion. I recognize Reese Glassman. I mean, I can repeat if you want. Right. So the question was, could we split up the membership fee so someone pays $50 for 1 year and then $50 for another year? We had a discussion about that at steering as well. I think that's something that has been done in the past, but is kind of difficult to manage. So I think, I mean, it's something potentially we could do, but the concern and problem was, you know, if someone pays their fee or only half of their fee, and then they get in the second year and they don't pay, what are they, right? Not a member anymore? I don't know. Or do we need to get, right. But there's like a whole set of rules and things that we would have to figure out related to that, I think just from a practicality perspective, we went with a simpler approach, which we've done for the last 5 or 6 bienniums for sure. Where, but as I would say, again, if someone has an issue or cannot afford the $100 fee, it's a voluntary fee. It's not a mandatory fee.
Brian, this is Mateo Dunn. Can you please explain how the 4th paragraph works? I'm a little unclear on the procedure there.
So the 4th paragraph is, okay, this is what we're talking about. This was something that was added 2 years ago in terms of a set of members could register opposition to the membership of or the candidacy of a member to be for FCDC. The idea behind this really was that there were people that were trying to join FCDC that were not Democrats. It's to try to infiltrate FCDC or something. I don't know what they were doing, but so this kind of preserves a mechanism where people can be identified for opposition and you can hold them up for a vote. The way that this was presented at steering was that 30 members or 30 people that were also seeking membership could register that opposition. I think there was interesting discussion on this, and for whatever reason, the resolution was amended by steering to include options where the FCDC chair, relevant vice chair, regional vice chair, and district chair could identify someone in terms of like, I don't know, scrutiny or whatever. Someone as a known person for that opposition, and then also that there's an option of any 5 officers of the committee, of which there's 19 officers of the committee. So it's not something that I personally want to see us use really, but it's a kind of a warning to the people that are trying to mess with FCDC that we have a mechanism to keep them out. So this is not something that we should be using for personal dislike of someone or vendettas, but really for kind of bona fide issues with people not being Democrats. I next recognize Richard Chu.
Good evening. Brian, given the discussion that you just had, what is the mechanism going to be to circulate the list of proposed members to the current members so that they may see if there's anybody on that list that should be challenged?
We talked about this. I think once membership applications are due on the 27th, we can publish those lists of candidates for public and or candidate scrutiny.
Okay, so it'll be published to all current members.
I think it would be published on the website, but I think we probably would send that to folks who are applying as well.
Fine. That was it. Thank you, sir.
Sue Rosenberg.
Yes, when you're talking about the FCDC chair, the relevant district chair, et cetera, are those the ones who are the current ones and not the reorganized ones?
Yes, that's correct. Just based off of the timeline of reorganization, whoever's acting as chair in those capacities at this time, which would be before reorganization of the district committee. So that would be the current chairs.
Thank you.
I'm on.
20 years ago, when I wanted to join FCDC, I was told I had to become a member of the Mason District Committee, and I submitted my request to the Mason District Committee, and they voted to let me join. Now, when we, under these new rules, want to eliminate someone who may be an infiltrator to FCDC, why can't that be how many of us voting members do we need to submit that request to FCDC? That's number one. Number two, why don't we submit it to the district committee and the district chair would submit it up to FCDC, and then so that those who are objecting wouldn't become exposed during the vote. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So the first question was the number of members, which has been set by this resolution to 30. So the weird thing about reorganization is the committee ceases to exist, right? And then we have our district meetings to elect new members, right? So there's not like, this is why we need this rule, is because during the regular kind of in between the 2 years, in between reorganizations, our district committees vote for approval before the full committee votes for approval, right? As we saw today. So the thing that happens in reorganization is we really don't have any members, and the Democratic voters of the district are the ones that get to decide. So this is just a mechanism for identifying people that will have to have a vote at their district meetings. So each district will have a meeting. If the number of people that have applied to be FCDC members does not meet the cap, then all of those members are elected, minus potentially anyone who is opposed, where you would need to have a vote, and the people that are at that meeting would participate in that vote. So that is the process that we're talking about. And I do envision these as in-person meetings for reorganization. There are a few things that we need to do kind of organizationally, and they need to happen, I think, as in-person meetings as well. So hopefully that answers your questions. Zach?
Not quite, but thank you for clarification.
Yes. Zach, you're asking why we need in-person meetings? So
Yes.
I guess I have to be careful about how I say this. We need some bylaws changes to kind of enable kind of the way that we've been operating. So the reality of it, I don't know that it's like exactly problematic, but it is kind of how we've operated for a long time. But I think we need to kind of have the in-person meetings to kind of reconstitute the committee and make sure that we're having those decisions appropriately, so that we can continue to operate in kind of a hybrid or environment. So well, I think maybe part of the chat is they can't hear you, but the Zach Lincoln was I guess reflecting concerns about kind of access to those meetings, if we are requiring that they're in person, and the people that are making those decisions, which I understand, but I don't know that we have any options. I think we, at some point, which we haven't done yet still since COVID, we need to have kind of an official meeting to bless the way that we've been operating. And the way to do that really officially is at the reorganization meeting. But I don't know that I will say actually that this resolution as it stands right now allows for the FCDC chair to have parts or whole of the meetings virtually if necessary, depending on what's going on in the world 3 months from now. But so those words are in here in this resolution, but I understand your concerns, but I don't know exactly if we can do anything about that. Is there any other discussion? Yeah, Lawrence.
So my question is following up on what Reese was asking within the membership fees. How and where do we advertise for waivers for those folks who are potentially coming from marginalized communities who may not be able to afford the $100? Is it readily known to folks that they can potentially get a waiver? Because in my short time, most folks don't know that they can get a waiver of that fee.
I mean, we can certainly, as one of the co-vice chairs of membership, you can have an influence on that. I think it's something that we want to make sure that people are aware of. So part of what we need to do is to reach out to everyone to get them to sign up again. But also, I think we need some external outreach as well. And part of that messaging, part of the things that we can write on the website where people are signing up can talk about this better than we do now. I do just want to say because we are having a November 27th filing deadline for this or whatever, I think we're going to try to open up a reapplication for the membership. I would say fairly soon, really. But before the election itself. So just something to keep in mind. Yes, sir. Action of the committee, we need to approve the or change the. Yes, the resolution is under consideration from the committee. If there's no more discussion, we can have a vote on it. There's more discussion. Andy Pavord. No. Phyllis Klein.
Yeah, I've got just one question is that it's at the second to the last paragraph where it says about the reorganization meetings for the elections and that everything will be decided by paper ballot. But if we have to do it virtually, then we can't do it by paper ballot. So you need to modify that somehow or another.
Okay. I mean, without objection, we can change that to secret ballot.
Yeah, I mean, just to allow us not to get caught up into the fact that if all of a sudden we go virtual, we can't do it paper ballot. We don't have the provision for that in the
Okay.
in the
Thanks,
bylaw.
Bettina, I guess I will also say that beyond this, there will be a more complete set of rules, which is going to be more boring than this. That talks about everything about how a caucus works. And there's a task force appointed by the district chairs that will be working on that. So just we can work out some of those details there, but I appreciate that. Bettina?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I posted this into the chat, but for the benefit of whoever is sitting in the room, I'm somewhat concerned, if I understood you correctly, that the membership applications, you mentioned publishing them on the website. Would that be available to the public, anybody who happens to visit us? Because in this day and age, I'm not certain I want all of my private information that is included on our membership applications sitting there conveniently out on the Democratic website.
So Bettina, just to clarify, the list of people seeking membership would be posted on the website, which is probably just like name and city, and that's it.
Okay, so it's not the actual application; it's just
the complete. Yeah, your actual application with your address and phone number and email and all that stuff on there would not be posted to the public.
Excellent. Thanks for clarifying that, Brian.
Aaron, did you have something, or are we? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone else seeking the floor for discussion. And I don't think we have a poll set up for this or whatever. So I guess to simply, is there any objection to the resolution? Yes. So there's a question, and it's not objection, I guess, but there's a question in the room about whether concern about having your name in city be posted on the website as someone seeking membership in FCDC. Membership in FCDC is not a secret. People can request membership lists and do get membership lists from us. Seeking membership is kind of like a public act, because you're really seeking the approval of the Democratic voters to represent them, to be a member of the committee. So I don't really know that there is a way that we can get around that. But I think that's probably the least, like, just putting that information is probably what we could do. The Sue Rosenberg is saying it should be magisterial district, not city. That's fine. I don't, without objection. That's not actually in the resolution itself anyway. This is part of the details of the that we are considering. Okay, so again, I would say, is there any objection to adoption of the resolution? Did you object, Stephen? Okay. Okay, you want me to have a vote? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. All right, the ayes have it. Thank you. Yeah, only a few more of these. Let's move on to vice chair and committee and caucus reports. And I guess ask if there are any committee or caucus reports before the state and local resolution discussion. Okay, not seeing any. Oh, okay, Carol Allen. As briefly as possible, Carol, we're running behind.
My name is Carol Allen, and I'm co-chair of the Employment, Election Law and Voter Protection Committee of FCDC. We need inside poll observers desperately. The information on the that's been disseminated around about September 22 or elsewhere is the sign-up genius for outside poll observers, and they are important. They're giving out sample ballots. Most of the positions on the actual ballot are not designated by party, so that is very important. And a lot of the action goes on. Sorry. Oh, I'm gesturing with the mic. I'm from the South. I have to gesture. What did I just? I can't remember where I was. At any rate, I'm going to leave a sheet up here for you to sign up to be an inside poll watcher. We need to get you trained and give you an authorization, all of which we can do. I have them here tonight, as a matter of fact, but we need to get you trained. Last year's training may enough. Anyway,
win the grand prize, but you know what, you're shocked because we're playing for charity tonight. We're going to keep up
between now and when the satellite locations open up. I've been out to the polls. I've used the sign up genius, very easy. So please, I'm going to leave the sign up here at the table where Brian is, and you can come back. I am at the Mason district, and I'll sign you up and give you my information. I'll take yours. So yeah, let's go. And it's very important. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carol. I did talk about that earlier, right? Where we need people outside the polls with sample ballots, but it's a good reminder. Republicans are running our elections now. Got a Republican chief. I know Kate is languishing over here. We have a Republican electoral board. We have Republican chiefs. And I know we do a good job training them, but we still need eyes and ears on the ground to make sure that we hold them accountable, make sure they're doing things by the book. Aaron?
Thank you, Brian. I'll try not to be too repetitious because this meeting's already gone along quite a bit, but I think you covered some of this in your report, Brian, but I'm giving a joint campaign report on behalf of the regional vice chairs. Thank you to all the campaigns that have paid into the joint campaign. We've gotten payments from almost all the candidates, but I think we are waiting for just a couple more, and we really welcome your participation. We have added an organizer in Sully district and are in the process of onboarding another for the remaining districts. And I want to say a big thank you to Greg Brandon and Cherie Root for orchestrating our absentee ballot chase program. Thank you, Greg and Cherie. And Izzy, of course. Well, big thank you to Izzy. I also want to say a big thank you to Maria Vorel and Maggie Godbold for overseeing back to school night, where we had a presence at all but a couple schools. That's fantastic. Hundreds of schools covered there. So thank you. And also to all of our volunteers who covered back to school night. Beginning last week, the joint campaign has been offering messaging workshops for candidates or representatives of candidates' campaigns. I attended one today with Antonio Scatton, and I was really impressed. And we're going to continue to do that for the next couple of weeks, I think. So we are providing that messaging training as well. I believe all of the district committees are now planning on hosting weekly Canvas launches now through GOTV, and we're looking forward to that between now and Election Day. And very shortly, we will be beginning our digital advertisements for the joint campaign. So I'm really looking forward to that. I wouldn't be complete here today without saying that early voting has begun. And I hope that all of you will check with your local precinct ops leaders and your district chairs and Maggie and Maria again to make sure that we have full coverage of our early voting sites, especially when we go to the satellite locations opening in the final stretch. And then again on Election Day, never hurts to sign up now so we know who to expect. And then should you find that the opportunity presents itself, inside poll watchers as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron. Kelly, I see you have your hand raised. Oh, okay.
I texted. Yeah.
I can share. I'll share on chat the contact information for the inside poll watcher thing.
Thanks. Thank you.
Of course. Now I'd like to move to the state and local committees resolution. And I'm looking for Alpha Woolen.
I'm here.
Are you there, Alpha? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I will be very brief. So this is a resolution that we have worked on in the steering committee. I've been working the state and local affairs. We've been working with Valerie LaRoe of the Virginia Poverty Law Center. She is on the line if we have any questions. But essentially, this resolution is to provide support that provides support for legislation that would help very poor families that have to deal with the foster care system. It would make sure that attorneys who take on these cases are paid more than their current $120 per case. This is not per day. This is not per hour. This is per case. Currently, because the price is so low, because there is no training, because this issue just isn't very prevalent, we have very poor families that encounter the foster care system or foster care court without representation. So this would essentially increase the fees that the state will increase the amount of money the state would provide to attorneys to take on these cases, provide training for these attorneys who take these cases, and then provide a state level office for oversight of this issue. Valerie can do a better job of explaining it, but this resolution is before you, is before FCDC for a strategic reason. What we want to do is provide support for this from Fairfax County, from a strategic perspective. The next step is to socialize this with the Board of Supervisors and to get their support and for them to see that we have delegates and senators within Fairfax County that are named within the resolution that support this, so that when it gets back to the Virginia General Assembly, it's been there before. It's just that other items have been prioritized when it comes to budgeting. So we're hoping that with the right backing of this legislation, that it will finally push it over the finish line to get support within the budget. So we did go over this in the steering. Steering recommended this for adoption. I'll stop talking now. And if anyone has any questions, and I'm going to defer to Valerie to answer those questions. Thank you so much, Brian.
All right, thank you. I guess I will just say that steering unanimously recommended this for approval. The full length of the resolution is pretty comprehensive. It's 2 pages, talking about some of the issues and particularly resourcing issues. But I think the purpose here, because this is something that we are seeking to see as a change in the General Assembly, is that these are Fairfax County values that we believe in, and that we think that it's important for children in foster care to have really good representation, right? Not for the courts to be scrounging because they're not paying them enough. Is there any discussion? Okay, without any discussion, we can move for adoption. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. All right, the ayes have it. Thank you so much for the work on that. From the state and local committee. And I don't know if you can hear it, but there is applause in the room. So thank you for the work put into that.
Thank you all so much.
Are there any other vice chair committee caucus reports? We can move on then to new business, and the first order of new business is a memorial resolution for Janet Carver. Janet was a long time member of FCDC, and I mean, like, when the bird machine was a thing, she was secretly organizing with a group of folks to help defeat the bird machine. And she was, I mean, now I need to pull up the resolution to remember everything, but yeah, they called themselves the Insurgents, the group that was fighting the bird machine. She joined FCDC in 1965, and was an active member really almost entirely since then. She was a member on the 11th Congressional District with myself and Sandra Clausen, who wrote this resolution, and many others, Sue, whoever else. She was, I think she was a Braddock chair at some point, Springfield District chair, 3 times. And she also served as the first vice chair of both the 11th Congressional District and 8th Congressional Districts, because the boundaries move over time. And in 2008, she was our presidential elector for the 11th Congressional District, voting for President Obama the first time we voted for a Democrat in Virginia in like eons. But sadly, and she also was voted, I guess, a member. Well, she was a member emeritus of the 11th CD and I guess a life member of FCDC as well. But unfortunately, we lost Janet earlier this year. But we wanted to honor her with a resolution and make sure that we provide a copy of this to her family as well in her thanks. I have Andrew Pavord with his hand raised. Andy Pavord.
Hi, yeah, I'd just like to make a motion. Providence voted in at our last meeting, a set of members that I put in.
Andy, sorry, we're still working on the
Oh, I'm sorry.
well, we'll get to that in a moment. The motion on the floor right now is related
I thought we'd
to
approve that. Okay.
the memorial resolution for Janet Carver. Is there any discussion?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Aye.
All right, thank you so much for that, and Janet will be very dearly missed.
Oh, damn it.
And now we get to, is there any other new business? And I'm also looking at Lawrence too on this, but Andy Pabor, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that I guess I should read them, or I put them in chat, but the following people be adopted as members. These people were all vetted by me, and they were voted in by Providence Committee at our last meeting. And so Candace Fitzsimmons, Heather Foglio, Barbara Farmer, Heather Maurer, Eric Rubin, Maya Britton, Eric Biglingding, Mary Connor, Karen Oberst, David Kramer, Aaron Bates, Nicholas Beltrain, Kim Carson, Lisa Downing, Zachary Harris, David Kramer, Michael Passant, Daniel Sudi, Carol Wagner, Fred Wagner. So I'd move that they be admitted as members.
Second.
Yeah, just I guess a question from like an operational perspective, how and maybe we don't need to answer this now, but I'm confused about how our vice chairs of membership did not have this list.
Why don't we talk about this afterwards, Brian?
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the list so that everyone can see it on the screen as well. While we're going through that, there's also kind of a there was a question about a Mount Vernon person, and I don't know if that's been resolved either. I guess not. Okay. Yes. So if I can find my screen to share it again. Here is the list of pending Providence members. Yes. And some of these have been waiting for a very long time.
That is correct.
So I don't. We can have another discussion about how things have been broken. But is there any discussion? Is there any objection to adopting these members? Okay, without objection, these members are approved.
Thank you.
Is there any other new business? Okay, no new business. We can move on to announcements then. If there are any announcements, then I'm going to recognize my friend Manisha Singh first. Manisha, go ahead.
Hey, Brian, thank you very much. Well, I'm really excited to announce as a chair of CD11 that we will be making a sizable donation to our local election this year. In collaboration with Congressman Jerry Conley and Chairman Jeff McKay, we are planning to do a mailer for Sully and Springfield District because we know how important it is and we definitely need to win those seats. So we'll be doing that. So yay. The next thing I want to announce is CD11 with the Asian Caucus is planning on hosting their annual Diwali celebration on the 21st of October. And this year it is going to be in a banquet hall at Aroma Indian Restaurant at 7 p.m. I would love to have you all come and enjoy Diwali with us. I will be putting the link to the Diwali celebration in the chat. So please join us. It's a lot of fun. We have great food, lot of good music, great Democrats. So please do join us.
All right, thank
That's
you.
all I have. Thank you.
Next, I recognize Jim McBride. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. Oh, no, you're here. Okay, well, that I guess that works. Okay.
Okay, so I have two announcements, so I don't know if that's cheating. But I wanted to give a shout out to the there's an Adopted Dem website that was announced in July. And right now, since it is crunch time, you know, hopefully we can juggle some of our battleground races or our local elections, but also, in Prince William and Loudoun, we have a couple critical state Senate races, especially that could decide whether Glenn Youngkin is on his way to becoming president and whether Virginia goes backward. And so I wanted to give people a couple opportunities or some resources just in case you'd be interested in helping out outside the district or the county. One opportunity is every Saturday, 31st Street Swing Left, which is based in DC, but is kind of nationally known for their ability to fundraise and canvass. They are hosting weekly canvasses in Sterling for Russet Perry, the state Senate candidate who is a total challenger. So she definitely needs all the support that she can get. So I'm going to be joining with them. I am part of the Swing Left community statewide, and now I'm trying to focus on Northern Virginia. So I'm going to be joining to promote those events. We have a Swing Left Northern Virginia Facebook group. I've got a group on the Swing Left website, etc. So if you'd be interested in helping with that, that's one opportunity. And another opportunity is I'm going to be hosting phone banks in Fairfax that are in person. And they'll be for outside Fairfax County as well as inside. If you want to come and you want to make calls for any candidate, you're welcome to join if you'd like to volunteer as a group in person. So there is a link tree that I've created with these kinds of opportunities. It's called the Virginia Blue Victory Crew, the Blue Crew. And so I'm going to put that in the chat. I'm also going to put the Adopt a Dem website in the chat, which can help you get an idea, a preview of some of the key candidates. The other thing is I've also been lobbying for Ukraine. And so it's a big issue for me because and for a lot of people, because it has to do with genocide and it has to do with threats to worldwide grain supply. And also it has to do with the future of the United States relationship with Europe. Frankly, if we let up with supporting Ukraine, it actually empowers Donald Trump and it empowers Vladimir Putin. And so, sorry, I had my information in front of me here and then I lost it. You might not be aware of this, but Jerry Connolly actually was the president of the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, which is like okay, well, some people might not know this. So he's a big supporter. I've talked to him, but it's really valuable that we talk to Congressman Connolly and our elected officials, our members of Congress, and also thank President Biden for his support, because the opposition, President Trump and the MAGA crowd are definitely trying to strip funding for Ukraine and things like that. So there is a Ukraine Action Summit hosted by the American Coalition for Ukraine coming up in October. So you can take action now by reaching out to your members of Congress and thanking President Biden on the White House website. You can find that information, but you could also participate in the summit and the Hill meetings that we'll be doing. So if you'd be interested, let me know. I have flyers and I do have a sign-up sheet for the Swing Left stuff, but I'll also put links in the chat. And is that a question? Oh, just telling me the time. All right, sorry, I was trying to fit in two topics in one announcement. So yeah, feel free to say hi if you want to get involved.
Joanne's next.
Thank you. Couple announcements. We have a couple of fundraisers coming up here in Fairfax County for our candidates. One is this Saturday in Oak Hill. Dave and Devin Harvey are hosting a fundraiser for Supervisor Walter Alcorn and Chris Falcon. So, it's very important. Chris Falcon, we need to get his name out there for voting and being a countywide candidate. So you're interested in coming to that fundraiser. Supervisor Rodney Lusk is special guest speaker. We have another fundraiser coming up for Hispanic Heritage Month. That's on October 14th, which is a Saturday. 4 to 6, it's at Sue Langley's. And again, it's to benefit Chris Falcon, Clerk of Court. So this is going to be a great big celebration like some of our fundraisers. So hope you can come out to that. October 21st, again at Sue Langley's house, we're hosting a canvas for a Hunter Mill Democratic Committee and for our candidates that are in Vienna. So if you have not confirmed, if you're a candidate, you have not confirmed with us that you're going to be there, please get in touch with Paul Davis and you will be on our promotional graphic. So it's going to be Saturday, October 21st, 11 a.m. We're going to canvas. It's the weekend, what you would consider dry run 1. So come out and canvas with Hunter Mill, October 21st. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be short. The Kennedy King dinner is October the 19th. Congresswoman Gwen Moore and Don Byer will be there. It is 6:30 at the Doubletree Hilton, Crystal City. Secondly, if there's anybody in the chat or online or present here that's interested in joining us, the Blue View, please come see me. We need one person that's it's a technology component. It's not the editing component. So it's real easy. I promise. It's real easy. All right, that's it.
Yeah, I know. Recognize Celeste Land.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick plug for Jake Schwartz and the Biden on the Ballot initiative. I know we've talked about this already. The reason we need these signatures is because Virginia has one of the most stringent requirements for getting people on the ballot for the presidency. Regardless of who you are, and even if you're the president already, you need 5,000 signatures. They have to come from all the congressional districts. You have to have 200 from each of the CDs, and then the rest can come from anywhere. Jake's right that we have over 1,200 signatures. Almost all of them are from Arlington. They aren't from here. We need signatures here. This sounds like just one more thing to do when we're all working on so hard on getting everybody elected. But this is something you can easily incorporate in what you're doing already. You're working a table, you're doing a fundraiser, you're knocking on doors. You just have your petition with you. And it's an additional way to talk to voters and connect with voters. We found the ones at the Arlington County Fair were extremely excited, actually excited about signing that little piece of paper. It's easy, it's quick to become trained. Talk to Jake, get signed up. It's like half an hour of training online and you're ready to go. It's a very rewarding experience and I strongly recommend it. We can do better than this. We can get 5,000 signatures single-handedly here, but the weather is going to work against us. So now's the time to do it. So I'm putting the information in the chat to talk to Jake and thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me about it.
Next, I recognize Ariel Garriaro.
Good evening. Thanks so much for being here today. In Dranesville, we're booked and busy. We are canvassing all weekend in McLean. So if you want to come out, come join us. On Saturday, I'm with Jimmy Bierman for Dranesville District Supervisor. On Saturday, we have a fundraiser from 2 to 4 in McLean as well. We're going to be joined by special guests, Congressman Connolly. On Saturday, October 30th from 2 to 4, Jimmy Bierman for Dranesville District Supervisor has a fundraiser. We will be joined by Congressman Connolly, Senator Jennifer Boysko, delegates Shin, Sullivan, and I want to say someone else. Delegate Kathleen Murphy, and so many more folks. Come out, join us. We'd love to have you all. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. I was going to say, I thought I was done, but not. Reggie?
Hi, everybody. I'm Reggie Meneses. I'm the co-chair of the FCDC API caucus, the Asian Pacific Islander caucus. And on Sunday, October the 8th, from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Caboose Commons, we'll be having a Write Postcards for Saddam for Senate campaign. And we're partnering with the Democratic Asian Americans of Virginia, DAV. And so if you are not keen to canvassing or doing it, or you're booked already up to here with fundraisers, feel free to write postcards, because never underestimate the power of postcards that can bring voters to the booth, to the election ballots. Ah, yes, we have postcards over there. So you're going to give them to me? Okay, yes. And also too, our caucus also helped write postcards for Albert Vega and Sandy Anderson's campaign. And so we help them out a lot. So, and also the Springfield district, we have regular postcard writing sessions, and you can check that out on our Springfield district page. All right, thank you. All right. Yeah, there you go.
I think Ariel wants to go back.
Sorry, I remember. So Drainsville Democrats, our friends, Robin Lady, Delegate Sullivan, and Senator Boysko are also getting ready for GOTV weekend. We are going to have a rally, the vote event on Saturday, October 21st from 4 to 6 p.m. The link will be on the Fairfax County Dems website shortly. So yeah, come out and get ready to get folks out.
Thank you. That seems to conclude announcements, which means that we don't have any other business and we are adjourned. Our next meeting is November 28th, so after the election. And obviously, as always, go to our website for all the things and even more things that you didn't even hear about today. Thank you so much for being a Fairfax Dem. Thanks for coming today, either online or in person. And let's go out and win some elections this year, all of them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.